I'm imagining I'm having a turmeric latte and an apple and some strawberries.
Yeah.
And they're going in like Pac-Man and
Yeah.
they're gobbling up all these dead
They
cells.
are.
Is that literally how it's working?
That's such a vivid image. It is like a Pac-Man game. They're going along and they're scooping up and eating up all of those senescent cells.
Well, hello out there and welcome to our very cozy cabin. You're snuggy.
And you're blanketed.
And this is
It's
Wellness
Wellness
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Yay!
Hello, Irene. Have you been enjoying the rain of the last, I don't know, it feels like a year.
Yeah, I'm actually not, but I bet your garden is loving it.
Yeah, it really is. Have you seen the explosion of colour?
Yeah,
in
it
my
looks
garden?
beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. I don't love the rain personally, but I know it's important for the gardens.
I love it because I just love seeing the garden explode, you know, with all those beautiful, beautiful greens and colours, and I love it.
Yeah, well, they explode with sunshine too, but
They
anyway.
do. They need a bit of both, I think.
Sunshine and a hose. best of both worlds.
That's one way of looking at it.
Just kidding. I know how important rain is for our farmers. I'm super excited though about this episode. Today in What's Popping, I'm actually interviewing Lee about her new book and how it all comes about. So I'm super excited about that. And then we have our Womansplain episode, helping men in our lives understand their own health just a little bit better, whether they have asked for it or not. And Lee, you've got a rave or a rant?
I am going to talk the walk today.
And what does that mean?
You're going to find out later in the show.
All right then. Cannot wait for that. All right, so what's popping? Well, I can answer my own question here. Lee, you are what's popping. You have written another book. How many of books is that now, Lee?
This is my 12th. 12 books. I can barely say that out loud, actually. It's a lot, isn't it? A whole dozen.
Gosh, you are so I'm actually so proud of you. It's like incredible, absolutely incredible. 12 books. And that's not just a small number. It's like I know what goes in to all of your books. I actually remember trying to contact you a couple of years ago and I couldn't get in touch. I think I needed some stock or something. And I remember being told you were writing a book. You could not be contacted.
Oh, really?
When was that? I don't know when that was. It must have been your last book or the book before, but I remember thinking, Lee, you can't get in touch with her. She's writing a book, and you were like out for like months.
I was deep underground.
You were so deep underground.
That's
So
really funny.
I know how much you put into these books.
Yeah, I do actually. I really love it. I think that's one of the parts of my job that I very much enjoy. Get so much out of it.
Yeah, I'd love to write a book one day.
Really?
Yeah,
What would you write a book on?
Well, it's actually my dream
yeah.
to write a book, but it would probably be on a lot of my what's the word? The right word? A lot of my rants, actually,
Yeah.
in a book, and
Yeah.
it would be such an expose into all these interactions that I've had with business, and I just don't know how I could get away with writing that book without getting sued. So the book at the moment will stay in my brain or
Yeah.
on a manuscript
Or
on the floor,
in the podcast.
or I let it out little bit by little bit in my rant episodes of the podcast. Anyway, this is not about me. This episode is about you and your book. And I would love to know, just to start with, anybody listening who also has ambitions of writing a book, because I've heard everyone has a book in them. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I do, but it's
Yeah.
like Irene's going to get in trouble if it comes out book, but everyone has a book in them.
Yeah.
And so how does one go about writing a book?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing when you think about it, but really you just start. That's the only answer I can say, really. You write, and when you first start, I remember my first book, you kind of write badly for a little while, and then you write less badly, and then, you know, even if it's just like you start with a blog or a Substack or a notebook, it doesn't really matter. What really matters, I think, is that you're just writing towards something that you very much care about and you're passionate about, because writing is hard, and I think that the only thing that gets you through the hard parts is the foundation and love of the subject. So if you're writing to be impressive, I feel like you might just run out of steam. But if you're writing because you really feel you've got something very useful to say, or something that is you're so super passionate about, it does carry you. I remember writing my very first book. It just poured out of me, and I'm very lucky to have this inner guiding force. It's like a driving force that I can't really explain. It's a little bit esoteric. Do you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes it comes from another dimension. It comes from somewhere that I don't even know. But whenever my publisher says to me now, we're ready for your next project, what do you want to write about? It's not something I really have to think about. This happened just last week to me, which is why I'm bringing it up. I just sat down for a minute, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this idea came to me that I had been sort of thinking about for a while, but not specifically. And then out of nowhere, an hour later, I had written a full proposal and pitch document, which I sent to them and they loved. So sometimes it just comes, it's timing. There's so many different things, but there's a bit of a other dimension aspect to it. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me because I genuinely, truly believe you were put on this earth to write, because I don't like reading books. I'm a bit of an audio book person, and I find sometimes when I'm trying to read a book, particularly about health, I find them very dense and very hard to chew through and very overwhelming. But your writing style, and I think that's why I always loved your blog, your writing style is not only inspirational, but it's an easy read and it's easy to digest and it's easy to implement. And we'll talk about more about that when we get through your book, because this book is the perfect example of a book that is like almost like a notebook. Like you want to live through the pages. It's not something you read and you want to consume. It's something that you want to have on hand, like as a reference book. But also with this book, what I found is if I'm just feeling a bit crappy or a bit uninspired about what to cook, or I'm not, I just want to feel better, then you can literally just flick it, close your eyes, open it up to any page and get a beautiful recipe or amazing inspiration or some tips and tricks on just how to feel better. Yeah. And I love that.
That's exactly how I wanted it to be when I wrote it. I wanted it to be a pick-upable book.
Yeah.
That anyone can pick up and flick through and have their favourite pages or whatever, but they don't have to read it from cover to cover if they don't want to. They can go to a section and go, oh, I want to read more about, inflammation, or I want to do a recipe today. So, I feel like it's very user-friendly.
It really is, and it's exactly right. You don't need to read it cover to cover, and you can read the same sections like over and over again as well.
Yeah, it's easy.
I love that, yeah. I want to talk about the cover, though, and the artwork, because I do judge a book by its cover. And this is one of the only books you're not on the cover.
I know. It's an illustrated cover, which I love.
It's gorgeous. I mean, I don't know who this artist is.
So her name is Sarah, actually. She's from Sweden. She's Scandinavian.
Right.
And when I sent through some of the ideas that I wanted for the covers, a lot of them were illustrated, because I love that illustrated look and the way that she has brought this cover to life and really... I find it so inspirational, and I love the colours that she's used. It's very Scandi in its kind of look, and also the title I think it's embossed a bit, so can you feel it?
Yeah, it's embossed. So the book's called Eat to Heal.
Yes.
And I want to describe the look of this book before we get into the content.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it has that minimalistic look to it, but it's also, the art is, I don't know if it's a type of art. It feels like, I tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a beautiful artistic painting and there's actually a name for these types of paintings, but it's still life in like fruit in a fruit bowl.
Yes.
What is there a name? There's a name for it. We'll have to add that to the show notes.
It's still life.
It's a still life, but it's a type of still life, or maybe it's just still life. But it's like, those kind of retro paintings of fruit bowls and then on tea towels and like that kind of like wallpaper that you put in your kitchen. That's what it reminds you of. It's a very homely.
Yeah.
It's a very homely and a feeling of a feeling of comfort, a little bit of nostalgia.
Yes, it is a bit nostalgic.
And
there's a bit of bohemia to it.
Is that
too,
what it
don't you
is? It
think?
just yet feels like, oh, here we go. It feels like home.
Oh,
It
that's
just
so
feels
lovely.
like home. Yeah, and I think that's what I love about the book. Even though you're not on the cover, it's got this beautiful homely feel to it. So let's get into the book. Let's talk about what it is actually about. So it's called, as I said, Eat to Heal. But what does that actually mean, Lee?
So the book is, the premise is food as medicine. So the book is primarily centered around inflammation and specifically chronic inflammation. And the premise of the book around chronic inflammation is that it is actually the hidden driver behind almost every single major health condition that we're dealing with. And I'm talking about things like heart disease, Alzheimer's, autoimmune conditions, depression, weight gain, brain fog, persistent fatigue. It's not a side effect of those things. It's actually a cause of those things. So that's the underlying driver of the book. And in the first chapter, I've got a title and it's called Your Kitchen is Your Medicine Cabinet. And that's the thesis. So I believe, and I've always, as you know, I've always believed this, but food is one of the most powerful levers that we have on inflammation. And a lot of us have, little idea that we're even pulling it in the wrong direction or that our levers are stuck in neutral. So this is about using food as medicine. And it isn't about making people feel guilty either. It's about giving them the information that they don't have. So once you once you understand what's happening in your body, your choices become more obvious. And I'm not talking about willpower. I think knowledge is really important, but knowledge in a way that's really simple for you and practical and able to be implemented really easily.
So who would you say this book is for? I mean, it's for me. I know that. I'm 50.
Yeah.
I know I have inflammation. I also know that food is medicine, and I also know that depending on what I choose to put in my body to eat will depend on how I feel the next day. I know that.
Yeah.
For
You've
me,
witnessed that. You've seen it.
I've seen it. So for me, the book isn't about, I know for a lot of people it's going to be very educational and teaching. For me, it's inspiration to actually go to the supermarket, buy the right thing, go to the fridge and cook the right thing and actually eat it, because I do know. But it's also, I guess, for people who don't know what foods can help lower inflammation and those sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a book that's going to be picked up for different reasons by many different people. I want to read a little bit out of it. There's a sentence in the book that I'm really proud of, and it says, "Perhaps this book is in your hands because something doesn't feel quite right. Maybe you've been told everything looks normal on your tests, even though your body is screaming otherwise." This is one of the many people that I wrote this book for. This is a person that's been told, you're fine, your tests are fine, but they know intrinsically that they don't feel fine. They've got no energy, they're fatigued, they're brain fogged. This is the person that is tired of being gaslit. And also anyone else, interested in the latest inflammation research, anyone interested in low inflammation cooking. So many people can benefit from this book.
Yeah, that is actually me, Lee. I've had, like I've said before, I've had all my bloods done. And so many times I know now that, doctors are looking at blood work and, looking for specific range. And I'm glad. My blood work's come back great.
Yeah, it came back good.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
And now I am the person that thinks, okay, well, what can I now do beyond the medical tests? We've crossed those off. We know that, I'm technically healthy.
Yeah.
So what can I now do to get rid of the brain fog, feel more energetic,
Yeah.
Get up and, have enough energy to walk my dog and those sorts of things. So that's what this book is really going to be so great for me.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people in my clinic actually, and increasingly younger people. You don't have to be like 40s and 50s to have these kind of issues as well. A lot of younger people do too. So yeah, it's definitely for a wide range of people.
Yeah, so let's talk more about the science then.
Yeah.
So let's talk about inflammation specifically, because it's a word that does get thrown around a lot, and I don't really personally understand what exactly inflammation even is or why it matters.
Yeah.
I just know you're supposed to take turmeric,
Yeah.
or have the Mediterranean diet to lower. We've spoken about so many ways to lower inflammation through all of our guests, but what actually is it?
Yeah. So in the short term, inflammation is actually your immune system, and it's actually doing your immune system is doing its job brilliantly, to be honest, because when you cut yourself and your body sends an emergency response. So, you cut yourself, you feel red, you start the area is swelling, there's heat, and the wound heals. That's acute inflammation. That's a life-saving thing. So it's actually your immune system and your body is helping you repair. The problem is chronic inflammation, and that's what I talk about in the book, which is when that emergency response, it never fully switches off. So that switch is always on the on position. So our immune system is running in the background on a very low alert all the time. And it's got no specific threat to address in essence. So, for example, that's why sometimes people don't think that it's really happening to them, even though they're getting these symptoms, because it's a very low alert and it's kind of just switched on the whole time. It's very subtle. And people generally sometimes don't connect it to how they feel. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but can you tell me how, what does it feel like? Like, what do we look out for?
So a lot of people with inflammation, you're tired and a sleep doesn't fix it. You go to bed, you wake up, you're still tired. You've got brain fog. You can't remember things. You keep leaving things behind. Digestive issues that come and go. You get bloated after meals. You get tired after eating. Mood fluctuations. You just feel out of sorts and out of character. You also might have migrating joint pain. So you might have pain in your shoulder one day and then pain in your knee. You might be getting more infections that keep recurring. You're struggling to lose weight. Something just feels a bit off in your body. And even though all of those different things might feel unrelated, they're actually related, and they're all related to chronic inflammation.
And for our listeners, there's actually a quiz in the book to help figure out what your inflammation level is.
Yes, there is. There's a quiz, and I'm super excited about this quiz because it's a self-assessment. So in it, I've devised 16 questions, and they're scored between 0 to 4, and it gives you this fire rating, whether you're low, moderate, high, or severe. And I really encourage people to try it. It's a very useful mirror to find out where you are actually at on your inflammation level.
Yeah, I definitely want to come back to that. But first, what are the things that you found in the research for this book that genuinely surprised you, even as someone who's been in the field for 15 years?
Yeah, well, one major thing and a few other things actually. One thing that really came out of the research for me that isn't really spoken about much is something called zombie cells.
Okay.
Sounds like a Michael Jackson video, doesn't it?
It does.
So the scientific term is senescent cells. So these are actual cells that have stopped functioning, but they refuse to die. They're like zombies, and they sit around in your tissues releasing inflammatory signals. They disrupt all of those healthy cells around you. So it's like, this disruptive kid in class that sits at the back throwing rulers and paper planes and things like that. So yes, that's what happens. And as we age, we actually accumulate more of them. So there's an interesting area, actually, it's senolytics. So here's what I love. There are certain plant compounds that are natural senolytics. So these are the compounds or interventions that help clear out those senescent cells. So there's something called fisetin, and that is in strawberries and apples, and also something called quercetin, which is actually really popular as a supplement now too. But that's also in food like capers and onions and berries. And then you've got curcumin from turmeric. These foods all help clear out those cells, which is really, really interesting. And the big picture idea that periodically clearing out your senescent. So the big picture idea is that if you're periodically clearing out your senescent cell burden rather than letting it accumulate, over years and decades, it can meaningfully slow your biological aging, reduce disease, and also you have less degeneration, a longer health span, and less inflammation. So zombie cells are at the heart of that.
Wow, I'm thinking. All I can think of is these little. This is how I'm imagining it in my head. I'm imagining I'm having a turmeric latte and an apple and some strawberries.
Yeah.
and they're going in like a Pac-Man and they're gobbling up all these dead
They
cells.
are.
Is that literally how it's working?
That's such a vivid image. It is like a Pac-Man game. They're going along and they're scooping up and eating up all of those senescent cells.
I love that. Wow, I didn't know that. I've never heard any of those. What are they called? Those the
Wellness
wellness bros, the wellness bros. I've never heard them speak about that, which is also interesting because everyone we've had on the show has spoken about the amazing benefits of turmeric, onions, berries.
Yeah, exactly. And berries are on the cover. We've got the blueberries on the cover.
Well, everyone talks about the power of blueberries. But this is, I guess, another power of them or part of their superfood power. That's why they're called superfoods. It's all making sense. That's what I love about this book, Lee. Everything, it's just all sort of this eat to heal. It really feels like it's just taking all this research that's out there and putting it into a really nice, clear, digestible format that explains little things like this that can make such a huge difference to how we feel.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree.
I want those zombies gone out of my body. Okay, tell me, what were the other things?
Oh, well, there's also the neuroinflammation link to mental health, and that's something that I knew about, conceptually, but the depth of this new evidence that I'm finding out is absolutely staggering. So when you think about chronic inflammation, right, it doesn't affect just your body. It also can infiltrate your brain as well, something called neuroinflammation. So the same inflammatory markers that are linked to heart disease, they're also implicated, can you believe it, in depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, and conditions like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So there is another compound, we've been talking about compounds today as well, called kynurenine. And that is when your inflammation is high, your body actually diverts your tryptophan into kynurenine rather than into serotonin, which is your happy hormone. So in your body, you're literally manufacturing less of your own feel-good chemistry. So if you are treating anxiety or low mood as purely a brain problem, then you're missing out on that inflammatory driver. So remember in the beginning, we talked about inflammation being a driver of a lot of the chronic diseases. This is just another, example of that.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I went to my holistic retreat, I went away a couple of years ago after all that stuff happened with my last business, and I actually got diagnosed with neuroinflammation.
Did you?
Yeah, by so it was a team of medical doctors and naturopaths working together, like a holistic doctor. It was a place in Byron Bay, great place actually, and they said that I had neuroinflammation.
Did they?
Yeah, I didn't remember ever telling them I wasn't.
How did they
I wasn't
measure
feeling
it?
depressed or anything. I think a lot of it may have came from I was feeling fatigued, so yes.
Yeah.
And they also diagnosed me that was when they diagnosed my SIBO as well.
Okay.
Is SIBO and neuroinflammation linked? Are they both inflammation?
SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, when you have an overgrowth of bacteria in your gut.
Is that inflammation?
You could have inflammation along with it. However, it's not specifically linked to neuroinflammation, but the gut is also linked to mood because you have 70 to 80% of your immune tissue is in your gut, but also almost 90% of serotonin is manufactured in the gut. So when you look at it that way, it is very connected. The other thing that I think is really interesting as well is, when people change their diet, they sometimes report, before any weight loss or anything like that, they report feeling less anxious and less foggy and more even-keeled just from changing their diet. And that's the brain responding. That's the neuroinflammation. Once someone goes in, once you start doing your curcumin and your anti-inflammatory foods, you're like, I'm feeling a little bit better mentally and my mood is better. Before I've even lost weight and found it in my other areas.
Well, that's what I've that's what I noticed. And that was the time as well when I did, because I feel great now.
Yeah.
I would say I definitely don't have neuroinflammation now, but that's when I stopped. Like I was full gluten-free, vegan, all those things. And now I started to eat like
supercharged.
Well, yeah, from doing this podcast, the one thing I've learnt from you and from all of our guests is you need to have, unless you're diagnosed with celiac, you should actually just have a really varied diet and have a bit of everything. And
you need a bit of everything.
You need a bit of everything. And I've just been, that's been great. I've been taking it literally, a little bit of cherry ripe, a little bit of this and that, whatever. A little bit of peanut butter on
with the dates.
A little bit of everything. And I've never felt better, just having a little bit of everything. So
And I have an approach in this book, which I want to talk to you a bit later about, and it's called the 4-3-2-1 MAP approach.
Ooh, okay, we'll get to that.
Similar to that. Yeah.
All right, what was the third thing then? You said you had a few things?
Yeah,
well,
so
what else?
I do have another thing that was in the inflammation research that I was so fascinated with, and that is called something called SPMs. So these are specialized pro-resolving mediators. So what that means is, it's very cutting edge research, by the way. It's really actually changed the way I think about inflammation. So what we've always thought about anti-inflammatories, most of us see these as things that block inflammation. Like you take an ibuprofen and you go, okay, that's going to block that pathway.
Is it like a Nurofen?
Like a Nurofen.
Yeah.
That's going to block that pathway that creates inflammation. But SPMs, they do something different. They actually resolve it. So what they do is they promote the clearance of inflammatory debris. They support your tissue regeneration. They return the body to homeostasis. So your body naturally produces SPMs, and these are from omega-3 fatty acids. So, your flaxseed meal, your avocado, like your good fish, all those, your good fats as well. So the case for getting enough omega-3 into your diet is even stronger than ever. This is really important. It's not just anti-inflammatory omega-3s, they're actually pro-resolution. So they're clearing out a lot of those cells and things that the debris, the inflammatory debris from your body. Because it's all very well going on an anti-inflammatory diet, right? But unless you're cleaning your gut with the gut powder, unless you're eating the right foods to actually get rid of that debris, that's like the next level.
Yeah, because your body's got the zombies in it.
Yep.
It's got these
SPM
unresolved things.
Yep.
Wow. So, oh my gosh. So how?
So the SPMs help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then how, from a practical point of view, do we bring all of these three things together?
Yeah.
On how do we do it? Like, how do we get rid of all these zombies?
So this is what I did in this book.
Okay.
I came up with a plan. It just came to me one night.
Wow.
It was just like, I was late. I was like, just typing on my computer, just writing the book. And I thought, I looked and researched all the diets, and I've been doing this for years. And the Mediterranean diet is still on top. It's still number one. It's still the best diet for inflammation. And we've done an episode on the Mediterranean diet, so we know a little bit more about that was. And I wanted to take it to the next level. So I wanted to do the Mediterranean anti-inflammatory plan. So this is my MAP plan, my MAP protocol.
Finally, we got the Greek salad with the turmeric on top.
We've got it. So you wanted it, and I've given it to you.
That's what I've been saying.
You knew this weeks ago.
That's
weeks
right.
ago. So I've built on the proven foundation of the Mediterranean diet because, it's got decades of research behind it, but I've refined it to a specifically target inflammation. So more anti-inflammatory foods, a stronger emphasis on gut health, attention to things that cause aging, attention to blood sugar as well, which we've talked about a lot on this pod too, and attention to having a plate. Just think about it as a plate of food that, like you said, has a bit of everything in it. So my whole approach, I'm so excited about this. I've come up, as I've mentioned before, I've mentioned the 4-3-2-1 approach before. 40% veggies, 30% protein, 20% whole grains, 10% fats. That's the template, the 4-3-2-1 template. And we're adding in all those anti-inflammatory foods on a Mediterranean style. So all the recipes in there, oh my goodness, you're going to love these recipes. They are all based on that 4-3-2-1 MAP approach. I'm so excited about it.
So I'm actually looking at your book and I'm looking at page 125.
Yes.
And you've actually got this plate and it's beautifully drawn, probably from that artist that did the cover.
Sarah.
Yeah, it's a great job here.
Yeah, beautiful.
And so she's got a plate and I just want to describe it to our listeners because it's so helpful. It's like a pie chart and you've literally got 40% here of vegetables and leafy greens. Then you've got 30% of lean protein.
Yeah.
So lean protein, that's made up of chicken,
Fish.
What else is lean protein?
Well, anything that's like,
Beans?
Yeah.
Legumes? Oh, yeah, that's what these little things are. They would
Yeah.
be beans and legumes.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And then we've got 20% whole grains and starchy veggies. So that's my
Sweet
favourite food. My
potato,
favourite food, sweet
pumpkin,
potato.
all the good one, all
Yeah,
the good stuff.
love sweet potato and pumpkin. Is that real normal
Yeah.
normal potatoes as
Squash,
well?
all of that.
Yeah, love all that food.
Yeah, and potatoes. Yeah.
And potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
that's 20%.
Yeah.
And then we've got this little 10% here in the pie chart, and that's 10% healthy
Healthy
fat. So that's
Flaxseed oil, olive oil, of course, with the
olive
Mediterranean
oil,
diet. You've got
extra
your
virgin. You've got to
avocado.
have extra virgin, we learnt.
That's it.
Avocado.
All of that.
Okay, those omega-3s that we talked about before, do they fall into the 10% of healthy fats? Will they also fall into the protein if you're having fish?
Well, fish has omega-3s in it,
Yeah.
but the 10% is the actual additional fat that you're going to have on your plate. So you can count the fish as protein. The omega-3s are just a part of the fish that, is going to make you feel less inflamed.
Okay, so they're
However,
part
you
of
still
this.
get the 10%. It's still good to put some good
That's-
fats.
yeah.
And you want to have a bit of everything. You do want to have your carbs as well, like we've been learning.
Because
on
you
this
said
pod. It's
those
so important,
omega-3s, those omega-3s, we need to boost those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to put some
definitely boost the
extra
omega-3s.
on
Yes.
omega-3 oils on top
Yeah.
of it. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
This, realistically though, if we wanted just to do it and we didn't want, we just wanted just the most, it's me bringing it all back to what happens when I get home for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
All I need to do
Yeah.
to eat to heal
Yeah.
and get rid of the zombies
Yeah.
is to make sure every plate, no matter what that plate is, looks like this drawing.
I think so.
Okay,
I think
wow.
so.
And then
yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
Just think 4-3-2-1.
four vegetables, 3
40% veg.
30% lean protein.
Proteins. 20% good carbs and whole grains, and 10% fats.
Great.
4-3-2-1.
There's just one
Bit of
thing.
everything.
Yeah. I probably just would have changed this a little bit if it was my book.
Yeah.
It's just missing.
What would you have done?
Well, I just
Cherry ripe.
yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah. So where do I? This is great.
Yeah.
But where do I put my dessert, like my sweet?
Yeah, so
Where-
you can
what-
have
where does
there's
that fit in?
desserts in the book. If you have a look at the end of the book, I've got some oh my goodness, you should see. I've got a Rocky Road in there.
Okay,
The
so I
Rocky
can
Road
still
is
have my
so yummy. Yeah. So if you're having Rocky Road, right?
Yep.
If you're having, say, for example, you're having a Rocky Road, using good quality chocolate or cacao in it.
I
really
must
sort
not
of
have got to the recipe
magnesium.
section.
Oh,
in this.
there it is.
Here it is. There. Oh, it's
you've
right at the
got it.
end. Okay, yep.
Is that the Rocky Road?
Yeah, Rocky Road. Raspberry pistachio Rocky Road bars.
So good. So you've got your nuts in there for
Mm-hmm.
protein and good fats, right? You've got those in there. You've also got some almond butter in there too.
Maple syrups of bittersweetness.
Yeah, you've got some puff cereal. So you can have like a few good kind of starches in there. Your puff cereal, your rice, puff rice.
This
or
looks
whatever you want in there.
so good.
I know, right?
I could make this.
You've
It's
got
so
your
easy.
coconut flakes. You've got your raspberries. You could even put blueberries in there if you wanted. So that it's just, even if you're having dessert, right? It's about having a protein with your dessert. Like, it's about mixing it up. It's really about mixing it up. So you've got a bit of everything. So you feel satiated. So like Michelle said in our episode with Michelle, remember, the sugar guru, she said that you got to keep those insulin levels stable. Yeah. So by eating this way, 4-3-2-1, you're keeping it nice and stable. And that also is a driver, if you're having those roller coasters of inflammation. So that's, you know what I mean? She said that,
absolutely.
right? So it's all part of it.
Can I have this Rocky Road every night for dessert, a little piece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely can. Oh, there's another chocolate recipe in there.
Just tell me, give me another page. Hang on, the Rocky Road for everyone's, it's page 235 for the Rocky Road.
And I've got the almond cacao crunch bark with hemp seeds.
Okay, let's
so
just.
got your hemp seeds.
Can we just talk about this one, this recipe for a second? Oh my gosh.
So you've got.
It's called, it's called the almond cacao crunch bark with hemp seeds.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You can talk about that if you want to.
Okay, I'm going to read it out.
Yeah, you can read it out.
It's a satisfying no bake, yes, thank you, snack loaded with healthy fats, magnesium rich cacao, and here you go, and omega-3s from hemp seeds.
Yeah.
So can I replace on my plate one of those I can make up?
Yeah.
Okay, so would this be the protein?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the plate,
You got almonds, so it's got a cup of almonds in it.
It's
So
got
that's your
almonds, got
protein
hemp
and good
seeds.
fats.
Is there?
Yeah.
There'd be protein in hemp seeds, isn't there? I think.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay, so with the plate, I'm sorry, remind me one more time. How much protein? 20%, 30% protein.
Yeah.
So out of a
4,
30,
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so out of a 30% protein, I can have some chicken.
Yeah.
I can have some fish, some
Yeah.
tuna maybe, but I can also have
Yeah.
some of this dessert as part
Absolutely.
of it. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I
can.
love this book. So I think I am not kidding when I say this is the perfect book for me.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
I think anyone
Because
who
it's easy to
Yeah.
follow. Not that I'm saying, but you have admitted that you don't cook that much.
No,
But
I'm
these
not.
recipes are so simple.
yeah, it's just like women 40 plus, perimenopause, menopause. These are the sorts of recipes and guidance that we need because
definitely.
our inflammation must be getting worse as we get older. Okay, I really love that. It's actually so much more straightforward than a lot of eating frameworks that I've come across.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Mediterranean diet works partly because this is what I love about it. It's not rigid. It's not super, super strict, right? It's a pattern. It's not a prescription. It's not telling you exactly what you have to do at any given time. It's just kind of like more of just a relaxed way of eating. And I've really tried to honor that in the MAP approach that I've got to this. So the goal is, and a lot of nutritionists say this, but the goal really is to crowd in the good rather than obsess over eliminating the bad.
Yeah, I love that approach so much because I do love my little sweet treats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about the microbiome piece. You talk a lot about gut health in the book, and I want to make sure people really understand why it's relevant to inflammation because we might think of them as two completely separate things.
And I think a lot of people do. But when you think about the gut, it's actually the command central for your immune system. It really is. It's ground zero. It's the engine room. And as we know, 70 to 80% of your immune tissue, it actually lives in your gut. So gut health and inflammation, these are not separate conversations that we should be having. They're actually the same conversation. So when you think about inflammation too, and you think about the lining of the gut, when we're having a lot of external kind of things coming in, whether we're taking, pharmaceuticals like Nurofen and things like that, and the lining becomes compromised, you can get something called leaky gut, which a lot of nutritionists talk about. And this is where particles get into the bloodstream and shouldn't be there. And the immune system sets off that response again. And then you get inflammation. So it starts in the gut. It starts with leaky gut. Then you get the inflammation. And then that inflammation can show up anywhere in your body. So the gut is the central command when you look at it.
Yeah, I think so many people know that now. So how do you support the microbiome through food?
Yeah, so when you're eating to heal, diversity is a really good one. And that's why I've got all these
keeps
recipes.
coming up. That keeps coming up.
The diversity. So 30 different plant foods a week is what research points to. I know that sounds a lot, but when you think about, some of the recipes in there and even just that
That's
one
exactly
dessert
what I was
recipe,
thinking because I thought, how do you do 30?
they all
But you
count.
can.
They count because you've got herbs, you've got spices, you've got nuts, you've got seeds. Like you say, you've got the legumes as well. They all count. And then I've added in a few, I was I was wondering about the whole fermented food things, because I know it's important for a lot of people and it's really good for the gut. So in the Mediterranean diet, we're looking at a really good quality Greek yogurt, with live cultures in it. That's something that most people already have in their fridge. A bit of apple cider vinegar. Also in Europe, they do a lot of those naturally brined pickles, and I know that you love your pickles, right?
So are all pickles healthy and fermented?
Yeah. I mean, the naturally brined ones I think are better than the straight vinegar ones.
I like the sweet pickles.
Oh, you like the sweet. If it's got added sugar, it's probably not as healthy as just the ones naturally in brine, but I know you love your pickles.
I do love pickles. I don't care. I'll eat any pickle.
Yeah. You love your pickles.
Yeah, don't get me started on pickles. We'll have to have another whole episode on pickles.
All right, I'll move on quickly then. And then it's also about the things that you reduce. So we know this. We've done a whole episode on this. We talk about this a lot. Obviously, you want to try and crowd out that ultra-processed food. The refined sugars and seeds and oils in excess, because they're actually very disruptive to your microbiome. And we're now beginning to realize and understand the long-term consequences of these ultra-processed foods. We really are. Haven't you noticed, all this research?
It's interesting because I'm finding this book, our podcast is almost a bringing to life so many elements that are in this book. In real time. And then discussing, what we might see in the media about it, and then, discrediting it or crediting it.
Raving or
raving, exactly, all of that. I think that's just really interesting how it all comes together. One of the powerful themes in this book is the link between trauma, adverse experiences, inflammation, and gut health. And I want to ask why it was important for you to include that, but I do also want to say, I mentioned earlier in the episode that's what I got diagnosed with, inflammation and neuroinflammation, and I've actually had is it MDMR? What's that therapy? The light therapy?
EMDR.
I've had EMDR therapy since that diagnosis a couple of years ago, and that is why some of my recollection of that diagnosis now I've forgotten, but it's just come back to me now when we've thought about the link between trauma, because that is why I got diagnosed, because of the trauma of that non-alcoholic Sands drinks business was so traumatic for me that is what led to all of my health issues that I then needed to go to that clinic to get fixed. To address. Yeah. I feel really good now, and I think a lot of it has to do with not just the therapy and getting my eating on track, like a book like this. If a book like this was out a year ago, it's what I really needed then. But the fact that I'm in just such a great non-traumatic place now with my new business and with the podcast and everything going much better now as well. But for anyone that's listening that's gone through trauma, I'd just love you to talk a little bit about the book and how that can help.
Yeah, so for me, in my clinic, I kept on seeing people that weren't just dealing with food in isolation and issues in isolation. They were carrying their life history.
Yeah, they were.
Bodies.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really feel that. Trauma, chronic stress, adverse experiences, they can create this physiology that it stays switched on for survival. Now, when you think about something being switched on, right, fight or flight, inflammation, it's like your body has this switch, as I mentioned before about, your immune system staying switched on. It's got this switch in it. The body becomes really hyper alert. I don't know if you experience
that's
this.
what they said. I was on all the time. An email would come through, and before I even opened the email, I would already, and I physically broke out in a sweat because I was so stressed about what that email was going to say.
Yeah, because you were going through such a heavy period.
Was this going to be an email from Dan Murphy's? It was just this link between.
Absolutely. And when your body actually never gets the full picture and the message that the danger has passed. So you're constantly.
That's what I'm struggling
Yeah.
with. So how do I say to my body, like even now, going to going to my letterbox, like how do I say to my body, Irene, you're safe to go and open
Yeah.
your mail. You're not going to have, like
Yeah. And the word safe,
like
when you said
a
safe,
scary a stray post bill or something.
the word safe is such an important word. So what I do, remember going back to my mantra, I'm healthy, wealthy, safe and strong. The reason I added safe into it, because I had, trauma as well through things that had happened in my life and also in my clients' lives as well. We'll do a consultation, right? And I wait, and usually 20 to 30 minutes into that consultation, they'll say something like, yeah, my sleep started getting affected. My digestion went off. My mood was all funny because I lost my job, or around a traumatic event. And I started noticing a pattern in clinic that they started eating at night, like eating sweet things, having more eating sort of issues as well, and not looking after themselves after a traumatic event.
Yep, that was me.
Yeah. And then I saw this over and over again. People who were hypervigilant, hyper alert, and their bodies had just not switched off. So because of that, instead of saying to them, you got to go eat fermented foods and platefuls of broccoli, I said to them, let's have a look at the nervous system and let's make your nervous system feel safe enough to do self-care, safe enough to eat well and regulate yourself again and repair your digestion. When you're in that constant fight or flight, you're in your sympathetic nervous system.
And I'll tell you one thing, you don't
properly.
feel like cooking.
You don't feel like
doing
anything.
Don't feel like
right?
going to the farmer's market. I will tell you this, having been like, this is why I'm resonating so much with this book, because I can really, I'm getting emotional because it was really hard to find someone to help me.
Yeah.
And this book, that's why I'm resonating with it so much, because this is just me in a nutshell. When you are feeling fight or flight mode all the time, and you've gone through trauma, and it can be any trauma, and for me the trauma was really, it was that bloody drinks business. But when you're going through that trauma, the last thing you feel like doing is going to the farmer's market and going and buying some beautiful organic food, coming home and cooking it. In fact, sometimes I would go to the farmer's markets with all the intention, because I woke up and I thought, okay, I've got this. And I'd go and I'd buy it and I'll just bring it home and it would just go off in the fridge. I just didn't have the brain power to actually cook it.
Yeah.
That's why this book's so inspirational, because it's just an easy recipes to do.
Yeah.
So I guess, did you have that is that what inspired you?
So for me, the car accident that I had, the near fatal
course.
car accident that I had, where I was upside down and flipped over 3 times and just in hospital up near Byron Bay.
Okay, that's more traumatic than...
Yeah. It was, after that, and then obviously having long COVID as well, that was a period in my life that was, I really had to look at the way my nervous system was operating. I was also hypervigilant like you. I'm totally relating to what you're saying.
So were you in
now.
after that accident,
Yeah.
were you in constant fight or flight?
Yep.
Because you thought,
Yep.
I'm going to get hit by a car, like someone's going to run into...
And I still, I've been getting therapy for it.
Yeah.
And I still, when I see a fluoro vest or an ambulance,
Oh,
because I was rescued by the fire brigade and everything, it was really full on. There was smoke coming out of the car. It was crazy. I had to crawl through a window and through the bush. My car ended up in a place called Tanglewood, and you won't believe this. So I ran off the road, I hit a bollard, flipped over 3 times, upside down, but it landed in this one clearing in the middle of the bush called Tanglewood. And it was just this one place that was just cleared and my car was in it.
Yeah, well, I'm really a true believer in, if it's not your time, it's not your time. And so, angels just sort of put you in a safer spot.
I
oh my
think
gosh.
so.
But the trauma that we are left with on this physical earth that we can feel, how does that affect our physical bodies?
Yeah, so when someone's living in that constant state of chronic stress or unresolved trauma, again, that nervous system can stay stuck in survival mode. And that means your body, your actual body, prioritizes protection over repair. So you're not repairing the body, you're just protecting it. So you're constantly vigilant. And how it can affect your body is in the gut, your digestive secretions can change. Your gut motility can slow down. It can become erratic. Your blood flow can shift away from digestion. Your gut lining can then become more vulnerable, which is then, leading on to leaky gut, which leads on to inflammation, which keeps the cycle going. So at the same time, the immune system can become hyperreactive as well. So it's like the body is running this really unhelpful emergency.
So then for an in-clinic example, how did that work with your patients?
Yeah, so it meant that for me as a nutritionist, I had to look beyond food alone and, of course, refer on to psychologists and experts in that field of nervous system regulation. But, looking beyond that, looking more holistically, where rather than just looking at nutrition. Obviously, nutrition matters enormously, but if someone's body is locked in stress chemistry, they're not even going to be able to fully absorb or respond.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Eating.
That's what I was going to say. For me, again, because I've been there in a clinical, holistic practice, like as a patient, I couldn't absorb the foods that I was eating. So that's why I had to go onto all these like detailed supplements. They put me on like supplements that you can almost drink, like for people that were chronic, like for people that had like cancer patients and
so
stuff.
So you could absorb it.
Just so I could absorb it, because
your nervous system was fried.
It was so fried. You know what else helped?
What?
Acupuncture.
Yeah. I love acupuncture. And that's why in clinic I address the person as a whole. So I look at gut health, I look at inflammation, I look at sleep, stress, emotional history as well, and the daily life patterns. So in practice, it might mean, using food and supplements, but I'm also encouraging a lot more nervous system support, so gentle routines. I'm really cutting back on, prescriptive kind of things, better sleep habits, breath work, rest, and realistic changes so that your body feels safe.
Again, all the things that we keep talking about in this podcast, or these same things keep coming up. Sleep habits and, relaxation habits and being around friendships and all of those things, because they all help. They all help us feel safe. And
they all really help. And when your body is in survival mode, it honestly doesn't need another lecture. It needs support. It needs consistency. It needs a routine. And it 100% needs compassion.
Yeah, it needs this book actually as well, which, gosh, I love it so much. Can you talk me through how I could give my own example, but I'd love to hear your example of your patients and how they came through the other end, like what improvements they were making and how they went from flight, super stressed, neuroinflammation, all of those things, and then to come out the other end almost like how I have.
It's interesting because people think, if I do this, if I slow down and I, regulate the nervous system and I eat well, my digestion will improve. But sometimes it's not your digestion that improves first. And in my clients, I noticed that their energy, sleep, and mood shifted first sometimes. It wasn't just their digestion. So, because we were implementing things like sleep routines and more meditation and yin yoga and breathing, the mood also shifted. And like you said, you didn't feel like going and cooking a meal when your brain wasn't in it. You were just so overstimulated and dysregulated. People have said to me that, their mood and their sleep, that was a huge win for me as well. And also I wanted to, and I do really like to encourage and reinforce to my clients that healing is not a linear thing. Like, it doesn't happen in an order. We would love it to, wouldn't we?
Yes,
We'd
please.
love it to, but sometimes the body starts with the thing that makes daily life feel more manageable. I don't know what that was for you. Was there something when you started to feel better that you were like, you know what, I've got this. I feel like I can start to look after myself or have my, everything shower? Like literally put some time into self-care for yourself.
Well, I think for me, my new business is just everything because it got me, not just out of bed again, but I got a big hit to my ego when that drinks business smashed. I can't even tell you. It was so traumatic. It just everything that could go wrong in a business went wrong. And having come off the back of Nourish Life, which was like the best, most incredible business ever. It was amazing. So it was such a roller coaster. So I think for me, starting again, doing my new Nourish Life business under Clean Net Dream, of course, not Nourish Life, and having that community again was the first thing. Yeah, that was the first thing. It gave me the motivation and the encouragement and also the sign that I needed, that people needed me, like people wanted me to come back. And
that
like
support really.
Yeah, it's the support. And also I think because the clean beauty industry is a mess at the moment, so I really felt like the world needed me.
Is that because of the whole clean natural, what do they call it again? Fake natural.
Yeah, fake natural. Yeah, all the greenwash. Yeah, when I went away, because I was on a non-compete, right? So I did this stupid drinks business that I shouldn't have done. But while I was doing that, the whole industry that I feel like I'd really made an impact on had just fallen to shit, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm not glad it did, but it gave me a really good motivation to come back to sort of clean that up, and the response has been so good. So in summary, for anybody listening that is feeling like they've had some trauma, particularly around this, all happened around COVID. So that was really amplified. COVID was really, I got COVID. I caught COVID. I mean, I had a real bricks and mortar store. People would come in at a Westfield, and customers would, and we were allowed to stay open because we were a drinks business. And customers would come in and, no one would buy anything. No one actually bought anything in my store.
Did they come in to talk?
They just came in to get free samples.
Oh.
So I was pouring free drinks, like mocktails all day, and of course dealing with people all day, serving drinks. I got COVID really bad. Caught COVID really bad. Got it twice actually, and that you've gone through long COVID. For me, I mean, I had it for almost 2 months. It was over Christmas actually. Oh. Yeah, so going on a tangent here, but the trauma of my family leaving my Christmas meal outside my front, my bedroom, the door was closed, knock, knock, knock. I was like, oh, your food's out the front. Like it was and running a business. Oh my gosh, it was so like the trauma. Anyway, so my point is for anyone that's feeling like they've had a trauma, a car accident, anything, or everyone has their own trauma. If you can just find one thing as what you are here, think, oh, what am I here to do? Like I'm here to do something, and just find that one thing. For me, it was Clean Net Doreen. And then from there, I knew I had to sort my shit out if I was going to build another business back to where my first business was. And to do that, and this is so interesting, again, why I love the book so much, because I need the help and that crutch to lean on. But I now think of myself and my body as an athlete. An athlete whose goal is to win an Olympic medal.
That's what Amelia was talking about,
right?
In her episode,
right?
Remember?
You don't want to, because you don't want to put shit in your body if you're going to run a marathon or go and do. And that's for me. My goal is to that's my Olympics. My business is my Olympics, and I'm going to win that bloody medal, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's the inspiration I need to get out of bed, get fit, get healthy. That's actually why I went to that clinic place a couple of years ago, is to sort all this out so I actually had hypnotherapy as well. That was really helpful. And in my hypnotherapy, I just kept like imagining myself in my own warehouse, packing orders and doing all those things, which I've managed to manifest now. So for me, anyway, to cut a very long story short, yes, for me it was that feeling of having a passion that I could follow. Everything followed after that: eating well, sleeping well, getting energy, and it just was this amazing effect. And now, oh gosh, I'll go to the farmers markets now and I'll cook a beautiful, healthy soup, and I will enjoy cutting up all those vegetables and cooking them
Yeah,
and
there's
everything.
lots of recipes. There's 60 recipes in the book,
Right.
that you can now cook. 60 new recipes.
So can you take me through, out of the recipes in your book, what role they play in the healing process?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the book's called Eat to Heal.
Yeah.
So a very, very big one. Look, I wanted these recipes to do more than just look pretty on the page, although they do that too, which is very pleasing. There's 60 recipes, as I mentioned, in the book, and I wanted them to be functional, delicious, and supportive of the way that I'd love someone to eat if they were really trying to, obviously reduce that inflammation and support the gut health and regulate their nervous system. So what I found also in my clinic, when people are sick and tired and overwhelmed, they don't want these complicated recipes with 27 ingredients and a garnish that requires emotional resilience. They want food that feels doable and nourishing. And I feel that these recipes in the book are showing how eating anti-inflammatory style can be satisfying, and it's practical, and it is very enjoyable.
All right, can I just say a couple of the recipes in the book that I'm obsessed with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say the recipe.
Yeah.
How about this? How about with this?
Yeah.
I'll pick a recipe and then can you tell me the health benefits of that recipe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the first recipe is, I'm just actually going to close my eyes and pick a page. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, page 156.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What have you got?
Baked sweet potato hash browns.
Oh, yum. I love this recipe. It's so yummy. So obviously that's a nutrient-dense recipe. You've got your good carbs, your smart carbs, as Michelle would say. Your sweet potatoes, they've got the beta-carotene in them. They're a really powerful antioxidant. They support your skin as well, good skin food, and immune health as well. So the flour that I'm using in them is chickpea flour, actually.
So you've got your legumes.
Yeah, so you've got that.
Protein.
You've got your protein and fibre with that. And then I've got my curcumin, or my turmeric in there, for the anti-inflammatory, and cumin as well, which is a beautiful spice, anti-inflammatory spice. And then I've also got my smashed avocado on it.
For your omega-3s.
See,
I'm learning, yeah.
You've got it, all your unsaturated fats and potassium. And then we've got, a nice green salad, your microgreens, so all your phytonutrients that are going to support that cellular health as well. So your hash browns with your avocado with salad on top, and then you're sprinkling some hemp seeds or pumpkin seeds or walnuts on top, whichever one you prefer. Yum. So you've got all your good fats there as well.
Oh,
so,
yum. There's another one. Okay, one more.
Yeah,
one more. I'm going to pick a sweet one. There was a crepe one in here.
The sweet ones are towards the end.
Okay, I found it. It is on page 159. It's the buckwheat banana crepes with figs and berries. Oh my gosh, my stomach, can you hear it rumbling?
Banana crepes with figs and berries. This is one of my favorites. It's actually quite a light recipe, but it is very nourishing. And you've got, because of the bananas I'm using in it, that's your gut-friendly resistant starch, because they're just ripe bananas. And I've got the buckwheat flour that I'm using for the crepes. This is naturally gluten-free, so good for anyone that's gluten-free. It's going to help nourish your brain, calm your nervous system, and support your digestive health and hormonal balance, because buckwheat, it's got rutin in it, and it strengthens your blood vessels as well. And then on top of it, oh my goodness, I just topple on some figs and fresh berries. So you've got your polyphenols there, your prebiotic fiber, and then I've got some nut butter in there too for your good fats and antioxidants. So it's going to sustain you. It's going to help you stay energized, but it's also going to help reduce that inflammation as well. So we should put that recipe actually up in the show notes.
We should put it in
one of the recipes up.
Yeah, let's pick one for the show notes. Oh, I'm going to pick one. I probably will be the buckwheat. Actually, that's great because it's not just sweet, but it's also breakfast. So you could have that for dessert.
Yeah,
and breakfast.
You could, and it's really
you want to top and tail your day with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much, Lee. I could talk about your book for hours. I'm actually obsessed with it. I love it so much, and it just looks also really beautiful in my kitchen. I know I've talked a lot about what I'm getting out of it, but have I missed anything? What are you hoping people get out of your book?
I think a few things. I think the main thing is that they feel really empowered rather than feeling intimidated by, a strict diet or something like that. I want them to understand that food is not just fuel, but it's information, it's support, and it's a really good daily opportunity to help your body function better. And I also want them to know that healing isn't about being perfect or obsessing over foods or cutting a lot of things out. It's not about having a fridge full of identical glass jars either. It's just something that empowers you and makes you feel better. And most of all, I really hope that they feel like that they have a guide that they can trust, something that's, really
clinically backed.
Yeah, grounded in clinical experience,
Yeah.
backed by science. And written by me. Obviously, I feel that I'm someone who spent years helping people feel better and get better. And if they walk away thinking this is doable, it makes sense, I can actually start it, then, I've done my job.
Oh, you have. And for anybody listening, is the book out now? Is it available now?
Yeah, it is.
And
It's
where do we get it
available.
from? Like a Booktopia?
Yeah, any
Amazon?
bookstores, online retailers, Supercharged Food website or superchargeyourgut.com. You can get it from there. Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much. This is probably one of the best books. And you could get it at bookshops as well, couldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you can buy it and it's available all over the world. So in England.
Oh, wow.
America. It's coming out in America.
It's
already out in
amazing.
America. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing to think that you've written a book here in Sydney and it's being read and used by someone, who might have gut issues that are in New York, that have been dealing with trauma from, 9/11. Like, this is incredible.
It is
when
incredible.
you actually stop and think about it.
The people that you're, connecting with and helping. It's so purposeful. Like you say, it's what we do is very purpose driven, isn't it?
It has to be.
Yeah. That actually helps regulate my nervous system by doing something good in the world.
That was the word I was looking for before. Purpose. I think I said inspiration, and they're kind of interconnected. But if you can find your purpose, oh my gosh, everything
life
just falls into place, and it's just so easy. That's why this book's so easy for you to write, and so easy for me to read, us to read.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee. So, what do you think of me, Lee, as a interviewer?
I think you're really good at this podcast.
Thank you. Maybe I heard the Kyle and Jackie O show is looking for some replacements. Maybe they need to slot us in.
All right, after the break, Womansplain.
Thanks for taking my question. I'm going to change my question because I'm really interested in this topic of inflammation. Well, up to a point I'm interested. I'm not going to really delve into it too much. But I'm a pretty healthy guy. I exercise. I'm not overweight. I don't feel sick. I give to charitable causes. Why should I care about inflammation? I hear a lot about it, but not within men's circles, if you like.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, I've heard this too, and I think it's actually the biggest myth that I do want to bust with this book, that inflammation is not just found in older women.
I didn't say that.
Why are you looking at me when you said? Why are you looking at me when you said? I think you did say that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say that. I didn't look at you. And can we move on quickly?
All right, we know that inflammation doesn't and always announce itself. So it's not like you've got a broken arm or a visible rash or a fever or something that you can point to. I feel like men sometimes need that visibleness to prompt them to go and get help or to go to the doctor.
So is that like my tinea?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
it is. It is. You need
That
the
gets
physical.
inflamed.
Well, they say men are very visual creatures, right? They look like their eyes see things. That's why they like makeup and pretty hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, when you look at systemic inflammation, which is what we're talking about, low-grade inflammation, that in itself is completely silent. And it's precisely what makes it so dangerous. Because, all right, let's have a look at the research. It's pretty confronting. We know that in men and women, but men especially, the plaque buildup can lead to heart attacks. We know that.
Yep.
And that is fundamentally an inflammatory process. We know now that it affects the cardiovascular system. it's not just fat sitting in your arteries. It's the inflammation that drives the damage to the arterial wall in the first place. And then the other thing that men typically, there's a lot going on with men, cognitive decline. So even Alzheimer's, it's increasingly being described by researchers as a neuroinflammatory condition. You would know about that, Irene. Yeah.
Inflammation is not just for 40-plus-year-old women.
That's it. And the conditions sometimes, the unrelated things that are happening to people, men and women, are not separate. It's that inflammatory common thread that I talked about that runs through all of them. And sometimes it's decades before anyone gets a diagnosis, and men particularly many of them don't like going to the doctor. So when a man says to you, I feel fine, you believe him, right? Like if your husband, you ask him, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel fine. But feeling fine in your 40s doesn't tell you what's happening in your arteries or your brain right this very moment. It just tells you that the symptoms haven't arrived yet. And because of our lifestyles, a lot of us have, and trauma, the inflammatory process has kicked in already. And this is what I find really fascinating. What a lot of men notice first isn't pain or illness. It's actually performance, It's them performing. It's also brain
Like
fog.
in the bedroom performing?
Yeah.
I don't like where this is
Or
going.
sports performing?
Yeah, all of, it's performance based. Oh, I can't do this anymore. I can't, I'm not as, fit as I was.
Yes.
That's kind of like one of the first things. with
Okay.
men.
Okay, now
That
you're
makes
looking
sense.
at me.
Yeah. Also with brain fog, it's the feeling of not being quite as sharp as you used to be. And, we get it too, obviously, men and women. Energy dips in the afternoon that don't come back. The mood, have you noticed?
Well, I was going to say, grumpy old men.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. That's a phenomena. Like, there's
what
even
they
a
call
movie
them?
called Grumpy Old Men, isn't there?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
call them, hang on, I got to look it up. It's something like curmudgeons.
Is it?
Great
I think
word.
it's
I haven't heard
curmudgeons.
that, but it's
Grumpy
just
old man.
a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
So sometimes my husband gets in that mood, and I go, "Oh God, if you're like this now, what are you going to be like in 20 years? You're going to be one of those grumpy old men."
Yeah, the curmudgeons.
And I've noticed, like in general, men as they get older, they are prone to being a bit more grumpy. And could that be? Are you saying that could be inflammation that's affecting their serotonin levels, which is making them less?
Yes.
Wow.
So the gut produces 90% of serotonin, like we said, and a huge amount of dopamine. And when the gut's inflamed, it's not working properly, production is compromised, which we know. That's going to affect mental health and mood and energy as well. So yes, and that's what's at the very heart of this book as well. You cannot separate the gut from the brain, and you can't separate all of these things from inflammation either. So once men understands, Justin, once you understand that the thing affecting your focus and energy and resilience and performance could actually be fixable through what you eat, that's where it gets really interesting, don't you think?
Yeah, wow, that's really positive. I haven't heard that kind of positivity and kind of action orientated. You can actually do something.
Yeah.
Let's give
So it looks
Justin
pretty
a challenge. And it can be any recipe. There's such simple recipes in there.
Justin's eaten a lot of these recipes because when we were testing them,
Yeah.
remember he definitely. Well, my daughter Tamsin did the recipes in the book. She is so amazing. She is so good with food. She's a foodie. She's incredible. She came up with these recipes, and then we tested them to make sure that they worked.
I had
well.
no notes. I didn't.
And you loved the chicken one. Oh my goodness, there's so many good ones in there. So yes, you can make one and then come back.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you. Thanks for that information.
Well, that's a wrap on episode 14. And honestly, what an incredibly expansive experience. We learned all about not just the book writing process, but all about your new book and the importance of keeping our inflammation down and the importance of eating to heal.
Yeah.
I am so inspired to go home and cook that crepes recipe. And Justin, you're inspired as well to go cook a recipe.
I am. I'm going to probably do it this afternoon.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed it, please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Please do. And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Wellness Unfiltered is a production of Clean Nectarine Proprietary Limited and Supercharged Food Proprietary Limited. It is hosted by Lee Holmes and Irene Falcone with editing and technical support by Justin Smidmore. You can listen to each episode on your favourite pod platform or on Substack at Wellness Unfiltered Pod wellnessunfiltered.com. Wellness Unfiltered is for informational and educational purposes only and does not constitute medical, health, legal or financial advice. The views expressed are personal opinions of the hosts and guests and do not represent the views of Clean Nectarine or Supercharged Food. This podcast does not establish a doctor-patient or other professional relationship. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your health or treatment.